Hey everybody, welcome back to Wicked Sports. This is At the Buzzer, and I'm joined, as always, by Jack Toonan. Jack, how you doing?
Doing good, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And Ryan Flynn. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm also doing well, Brian. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. So, lots of big stories happening in the NBA. This is not just a Celtics episode. We're going to be trying to do more NBA wide topics going forward. And we figured, it's a good place to start off on seeing who's hot, who's like really scoring a lot of points. And that brings us to our first player that we want to talk about here, Luka. He put up 60, 21, and 10, an absurd triple double. Before recording, Jack said, not since James Harden a few years ago have we seen a triple double with stats like that. And it will start off with you, Jack. How impressive has Luka been playing this year?
I mean, Luka has elevated his game, I think, every year, right, to a certain degree. I think the biggest challenge for him going into this year was the efficiency. For him, this was a guy, obviously, that like Harden is a volume shooter, right? He can put up crazy numbers, crazy stats like that. It's even easier to do that when you are the guy on your team, right? And Luka obviously is the guy for this Mavs team. Um, I mean, this really just encapsulates what he's done so far this year. I think how he is a do-it-all type of guy. That's a bonkers triple-double. The only 60-point triple-double with more than 20 rebounds, I think, obviously, right? That's absurd. Who else do you know that can do that, right? That's not somebody who you can just send out there and expect that to happen from, even like Nikola Jokic, for example, right? And I think that's a good example as somebody who is a two-time, potentially three-time MVP winner. Two-time and who knows how many more. And I think that goes to show Luka's potential as well, right? Dude's 23. He's got a lot of NBA life left in him, obviously, barring any injuries. Hopefully, none of that. But he really is just elite, I think. Again, it's tough to quantify because of the team that he's on. He really is carrying that team. Um, but I mean, those numbers are unprecedented, right? 60, 21, and 10, two steals and a block too. Just throw it in there, icing on the cake, really. I don't know, man. I think good for Luka. He certainly deserves to be in the MVP running. I know he is, but like, if he can keep this up all year, I say good for him, right? I will say that was in 47 minutes, right? 47 minutes of game action, so it's a lot of time. But at the same time, I mean, that's some bonkers efficiency. I think he was 21 of 31 from the field, right? That's only 2 of 6 from three. So, I mean, good for him, honestly. He's basically hitting every single one of his 2-point shots. Um, just bonkers, man. Luka's really an elite talent, and it seems like he's only getting better year in year out.
Yeah, Ryan, what do you think? Do you think Luka has a chance here to win the MVP, as Jack alluded to?
I mean, I don't think there's any doubt since the beginning of Luka's career, really, that at some point he has a very high chance of being the best player in the NBA. I mean, he's just such an incredible offensive talent. Um, yeah, I mean, this season has been kind of different for the Mavs. I will say, like, they were playing against the Knicks, so I kind of wonder how much that fueled his fire playing against Jalen Brunson. I don't really see why they would. I mean, I'm sure there is some animosity there, but ultimately, like, Brunson wasn't going to be a backup point guard his whole career, and ultimately, I don't see why the Mavs. Why would you pay like what it like? Oh, why are you going to pay like $30 million a year
Yeah.
for a backup point guard? It just didn't make sense. So I wonder how much of that it is. Again, like Jack said, it is kind of this kind of basketball. Honestly, most of the NBA is really moving away from, where it's what is I
Like
can't
hero
think of it.
ball.
Not even hero. I can't think of the term right now, but it's basically just the entire offense revolves around Luka, right?
Hmm.
The entire team is built around him. He's got the ball pretty much all of the time. And these stats are incredibly impressive. He's obviously an amazing player. But again, as impressive as this is, this kind of play is why he's also found it very difficult to have another star stick with the team. We go back as far as, Kristaps Porzingis, like he can't really stay healthy. He looks pretty good this year. Brunson, I mean, the Knicks, the Knicks, I think, look pretty good right now. They look at least like a playoff contender.
Yeah.
And that's not to go against Luke at all. It's more just like when you play the way he does, and he's so well suited to it, and it's kind of hard to move him aside. Can another force stand next to him? And it is pretty evident. It has been pretty evident that if he wants to win a championship, they're going to need another piece or two. However, just everything he's done. I mean, he carried them against the Suns last year. And that, I mean, incredible. We haven't seen anything else like it. I mean, those are, like you said, 60, 20, and whatever it is, it's incredible. I will highlight, so Jokic had 40, 15, and 15, not quite the same. But we also know the way Jokic plays very differently. And then also a few games before that, he had 40, 27, and 10.
A 27 one, that's right.
27 rebounds. And again, it's just kind of wild that he does that as a center,
No, totally. But yeah, that was pretty good. And then pretty much immediately outdone, 4 or 5 days later, Donovan Mitchell drops a 70 bomb on everybody.
Right.
He goes 71, 8, and 11. Ryan, can you kind of put in perspective this performance by Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just an incredibly dominant performance. Obviously, we know Mitchell is an incredibly threatening 3-level scorer. This was kind of unprecedented. I'll be honest, this last year with him and the Jazz and Gobert, I was kind of half and half on sharing the blame between him and Gobert and just the Jazz in general. I was kind of down on Donovan Mitchell. Right when they both got traded, I was very quickly like, oh, this is great. I'm willing to give them both another chance. These are great fits. They found someone who's good for them, it's good for them. It's almost like these two people got out of a toxic relationship. You just want them to be happy, as annoying as they were to go out to dinner with.
Right.
But it's really looking like Rudy, Rudy's having a hard time. Mitchell has just been dynamic. I mean, the fit did make good sense, but I mean, he's been incredible. I think he deserves starting spot in the All-Star squad with this not just that performance, but the entire year performance for sure. And again, we knew the kind of score he is, but 70 and, they won. That's what's important. I mean, there's always been that talk in the past, is Mitchell a volume scorer? Can he be the best player on a winning team? And I'm going to say he scored 70 points and won a game. I don't think we've seen that from Booker. He scored 70 points in a non-winning game. I mean, and that's completely unfair to throw that. But I just didn't.
That's fine. It's fine. It's fun.
It's fun, and nobody likes Devin Booker, so it's fun.
I think actually a lot of people do like him, and we're probably going to make quite a bit of enemies.
That's okay. Well, they're all wrong, and I'll die.
They're all
in
Arizona, so who cares?
Yeah, I don't really understand it either, to be honest. But.
The same with Florida weather without the Florida coastline to make up
Yes.
for it.
Yes,
Doesn't make no sense.
And while it is Donovan Mitchell is obviously an incredibly good player, right? I will admit, Jack, I'm sure you can admit, I probably was a little too hard on him in the past, right? I probably should have been. I feel like he hasn't gotten the recognition he's deserved for a while. Because of the struggles, but no doubt a great player. But I think a lot of it is also we should give due to just the Cavs, the team they're building, as well as just how well those other pieces fit around him, right?
Yeah, and I'll admit too, I definitely was hard on him in the past as well. I think, and I think you're right. I think it has something to do with, okay, he's playing with Gobert, who's not a good fit, and is just an offensive liability, which is a weird thing to say to somebody in the NBA. Just for the most part, because that's not. Typically, it's the opposite. They're a defensive liability. But yeah, in Gobert's case, and you can watch it in Minnesota, he's struggling to adjust. He can't really do much offensively, and even defensively, he's not at the level he was at before. Whereas Mitchell, like you said, it's a toxic relationship. They got out of it. They're both doing a lot better now. So you're kind of rooting for them both. Change of scenery is really what I think they both needed for sure. And Donovan Mitchell obviously is thriving a little bit more here.
Yeah, and again, it's with Gobert, he's primarily going to be rim protection for you,
Right.
as where what we know with like Mobley and Allen, why they fit so well with him and Garland is because of their ability to switch and play on the perimeter.
Yep.
And yeah, that does put, but that empowers Mitchell a little more. And also, defense, good defense does turn good offense, and obviously
Better spacing too. Right. You're right.
Yeah, and I mean, it puts also again, Mitchell is obviously he's really come along as a playmaker, but first and foremost, he's a dominant offensive player and scorer.
Yep.
Garland is an excellent point guard and floor general, and I think because of that, these two are really able to unlock the best versions of themselves. It's pretty cool to see.
No, definitely, and good for Cleveland. I think we all kind of feel for them when LeBron left again, but they made the playoffs last year. Kevin Love, not what he used to be, but he's still a beloved figure there in Cleveland, and now they got Donovan Mitchell. So, everything's looking up for the city of Cleveland basketball. At least we'll see about football. I don't know so much there, but so speaking of toxic relationships, LeBron James and Lakers ownership, but no, LeBron James, he turned 38 the other day, year 18 for the King, and is it 18 or is it 20? Might be 20.
It
might be
20.
year 20. Yeah,
it's year 20.
My bad there. He's 38.
Yeah, right out of high school.
38. So year 20 for the King. To celebrate his birthday, he scored 47 points against the Hawks, had 10 rebounds, 9 assists. And then he turned around and against the Hornets scored 43, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. Jack, what the fuck? How is someone this old doing this? Like, I know he's the king, but like this is insane.
I mean, he's the king, man. I think, and this is a topic for another time, but I think LeBron James is. I can say subjectively for sure. I think objectively, probably the greatest player for the greatest amount of time of all time, and I say that because, I mean, the man consistently is just doing unprecedented things. You're 20. You've probably seen it somewhere on whether it be TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, somewhere, YouTube Shorts, right? The sick reverse jam that he got set up by for Dennis Schroeder against the Hornets there, and like the man's is friggin' 38 years old, right? That is you can't. Michael Jordan had already retired twice at that point, Like I just think that LeBron from the sheer athletic ability that he has had for the amount of time that he's been doing it for it's Tom Brady-esque, and to be honest with Brady, and we're going a little cross-pollination here. Brady is, I think, pretty much unprecedented, the greatest player of all time in the NFL. And I think the fact that there is still debate for is Michael or LeBron better. I think for the longevity period alone, that LeBron is, absurdly better.
I don't remember Mike looking like this on the Wizards when he was 38.
That's what I'm saying. Mike wasn't putting up 47 every night. Mike wasn't averaging 30 points a game at this age. As unfortunate as it is, and as dominant as he was during that period of dominance, LeBron has had that period of single-handed dominance for X amount of years. With different supporting casts, he's got to get used to. Like it wasn't just MJ on the Bulls the entire time. I don't know, man. I think.
Man, any older people who listen to this are gonna be like, "Fuck these millennials and their LeBron James."
I'll take that.
GOAT.
I'll take that. I think LeBron is the GOAT, and maybe not from a ring standpoint. If you want to argue championships, that's another conversation. But I think from an objective basketball player and just sheer skill standpoint, for the longevity of his career, I think it's got to be LeBron, right? If you can categorize GOATs in many different ways, obviously, right? Who's the greatest? Period of dominance, right? Maybe MJ, but I think LeBron, for all intents and purposes, has been doing this for 20 years now, and he still is the best player on the team that he's on, and that's absurd.
Yeah, Ryan, what are your thoughts on LeBron's? I guess I don't know if renaissance is the right word, but just like explosion over the last few weeks.
Yeah, so I mean, again, like Jack said, it just highlights, just the incredible feat he's been able to pull off by just sustaining his athleticism and ability on the floor this long. I mean, with Anthony Davis out and the team the way it is, he really doesn't have a choice, but he showed he can still do it,
Right.
Incredibly impressive. But I will say, going back to Jack on the Michael Jordan argument, actually, I personally feel like most people still kind of tend to favor Jordan over LeBron in
I
that
agree.
argument. And I actually don't think there's enough credence for LeBron in that argument. Typically, it's like, oh, yeah, it's Jordan. There it gets tricky, but I at least think if you're going good versus great, we can debate who's greater, but if we're going good, like who's better, if you're looking at just like how long LeBron's been playing, everything he can do, how dominant he was and for how long, I do think, yeah, LeBron is the better player. However, if we're talking about who is greater, who like more impactful on the game overall at their peak, yeah, there's an argument. But also, I mean, if we're really going to go by, if we're talking about greatness by winning championships, making your entire team better, you know, that I actually think you have to pull Bill Russell, his sort of.
All right.
And
That's a homer take. True. I love it.
Oh, no, it has something to do with that. If you're going by, right, making your team better, winning championships, I think if we're actually talking about who's the best team sports player in history, I think it is Bill Russell. I think when you get basketball, I don't necessarily think it's him. But I think if we're talking about best team sports player ever, I would say Bill Russell.
Who elevates everyone on your team. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
I mean, he's a guy who apparently you could play high school games, like games he played on high school and tape. And he could just tell you, yep, this is a play this team is going to play. This is the play we're going to do. He knows the entire game. I mean, you know what I mean? He scored at will. He knew that isn't what his team needed out of him.
Scored, rebounded, knew exactly where everything was going. It was insane.
I'm saying he was completely fine scoring 10 points in a game.
Oh, yeah, right. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I love that. That took a turn that I didn't expect, but I think it's fun. I think it's a good argument.
Yeah, I think LeBron's for just pure basketball player, LeBron is, I would agree, probably the best player of all time.
Yeah.
I think the greatest, who's greater, him or MJ, I definitely think you got an argument there.
It could go either way. I think it comes down to subjectivity, right?
It comes down to subjectivity, and what it comes down to is some of the choices LeBron made earlier in his career, and just like kind of his unwillingness to ever admit when he's wrong, and just kind of his ever-burning desire to be the best at everything and know everything. I think it's just rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah,
and it's a big,
It's been I know you're not on Twitter, but it's been a thing on Twitter this season, especially of like poking fun at LeBron for just lying about stuff all the time.
Like how he just, he basically discovered the Migos. There's the meme of him like reading the book, and it's like you're always
the same page.
Yeah. Yeah. He just reminds me of like that, like really over the top class president kind of guy, who like. And like I don't know, in college, you're like hanging out with him. He's like, "Oh yeah, you guys, I totally smoke weed, guys. I could probably smoke more than you, like if I wanted to. But yeah, I gotta go. No, I'm good. But like, just like just a super try hard.
Yeah, he doesn't burn. But that was great. As for this episode, a little bit different. I guess Jack and I used to do stuff like this more, but we've really been laser focused in on the Celtics. But we're coming back. We're coming back hard with more NBA general episodes.
Because the Celtics now suck. Is that? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, second of the power rankings.
That was a terrible game yesterday.
I shut it off. It was so bad.
I had to go to soccer, but I actually ended up
just like
I usually would have leave. No, exactly. And I normally I might listen to the radio. That did not cross.
No.
You didn't want to listen to Kendrick Maxwell call that one?
No.
Oh man, that's hilarious. But so hopefully you liked it. Jack, where can they find you online?
Best place to find me is on Twitter, and that's at Jack_Tiernan. Follow me there for NBA, NFL, MLB, whatever major league sports you're watching takes on that. You can also follow my Instagram, and that's at Jack Disc Golfs. That's a lot of disc golf content on there. Follow me those places. I want to leave with a quote that I heard from Larry Bird actually regarding LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Because I think this will be an interesting anecdote. Larry Legend himself said that if he wanted to win a ring, he would play with Michael, but if he wanted to have the best time of his life, he would play with LeBron. So I think that's an interesting anecdote. Follow me those places. I'll be tweeting out weird, corny shit like that all the time. Give me a follow.
Awesome. Then Ryan, anything you want to plug?
No, you can just the Wicked Good Sports blog. Got some stuff up there. Hopefully, we'll be posting again soon. And to counter that, Jack, I'd actually say, I mean, if you're playing with LeBron, you're also going to get a few rings along the way. So.
I think so.
True.
I think so too.
Yeah, ask D Wade and Chris Bosh how it worked out.
That's right.
I'm sure they're perfectly fine with the 2 rings that
They're
they
okay.
get, during that time. But yeah. As for me, you can follow me on Twitter at @theFakeBMar, that's BMARR. As Ryan said, check out the blog. I dominated in my picks, went 13-2 last week. Would have been 14-1, but I went with my heart with the Dolphins, and they broke it as usual. If I just gone with my head, I would have picked the Pats. But no, I had to be hopeful, which was dumb. But I did pick the Saints also.
My hero. I was gonna ask. I didn't want to bring it up.
Last 2 weeks in a row, they helped me in my pick of it that I do
Great
at
pick.
work.
I'm happy to help.
So you can follow us there, and then you know all the other social media. I do it every episode. You can listen to any of those. But guys, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
And we'll see you all in the next one.